Hello and welcome back. As you know, I'm Nick Bonington and Matt is with me again. How are you today, Matt?
I'm good. I'm feeling fresh
Yeah,
with my new haircut. Been to the
new
pub,
haircut.
doing all the lockdown lifting stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in a
yeah,
I'm in a really
like
good
it.
place.
Good. Well, let's chat about it in just a sec. But first of all, I've got to do my little intro. Episode 27. Are you nurturing your leads? This week, we'll be discussing how lead gen and ecom needs to have a nurturing process, but that is dependent on what you're selling. Let's go straight in. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Let's Run Social with myself, Nick Boddington, and Matt Rubas. I can never do the thing. There you go. You've caught. Yeah, you can do it. I can't. How are we? All right, Matt?
I'm all right, Nick. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. So, you been back to the gym? Lockdown lifted 2 days ago.
Say back to the gym. I have only managed to fit it in once since. But I am going today. I'm already in my gym kit. I'm looking very
Yeah.
casual right now, but that's just because I'm straight up in the gym kit, ready to go when I can. So
Have you been to a
yeah.
pub? Have you? You been to a pub already? Okay.
Yes. Went to the pub yesterday and had a pint in
Fair
the
enough.
sun, a pint of Blue Moon, which is
Nice.
one of my favorite ales.
Never heard of
And
it.
yeah, it's been a it's been a good it's quite dry and fruity, and it often comes with like a slice of orange in it.
Okay. Blue Moon.
Blue Moon, yeah. You can't,
Okay.
it's really hard to find in the shops as well. I mean, the draft is better, but you can get it in um some shops. I don't know
Yeah, I
if I
think
should
one thing I
mention
thought
them.
was really funny yesterday on the news, Tuesday morning, what are we on now? Wednesday, yeah. So Tuesday morning,
Yeah.
and they were talking about all the queues to the pubs. I mean, I even saw like 12 midnight in Kenilworth, which is a town near us. They were queuing outside the pub at midnight,
Even
like
in
loads of them. I'll
Kenilworth,
send you yeah, I'll send you the video. But
I
so the
heard that
funny
they
thing
were
I
doing
thought
that in
was,
Cov.
yeah, so in Kenilworth as well. But on the news, so bear in mind, right? We've all been drinking at home, probably excessively drinking at home for the last
More than
4 months.
normal, yeah.
Yeah. So drinking a bottle beer is neither here or there. Whether you could be anywhere in the world, it's the same bottle beer. So people wanting to go to the pub, am I getting this right? That you want to go to the pub because you want to have a draft beer, something you can't have. Yeah. So the news yesterday, it's got a guy sitting on a bench outside a pub, pouring a Corona into a glass,
From a
picking the
bottle.
glass up, putting it into his lip, having a sip, and going, "Oh, that's better. I've waited a long time for that." I'm like, what are you talking about? You waited a long time. It's a bottle of Corona. You poured it into a glass last night at home.
Yeah, you've been doing that
Jesus Christ!
every
Not
week since lockdown.
at least get the consistency right. That you're going to find someone who's drinking a pint of Guinness who can go, "I only have it tasting like this in a pub." Not
Yeah, I
the
think
guy who's
Guinness
gone,
is
oh,
a
there you go. Plonk,
yeah.
there's your Corona bottle. Here's a glass to go with it. What? Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, there
Guinness
we
is a
go.
good point though, because that's really hard to like that needs to be a proper pint of
Yeah.
Guinness. Let it
Before,
settle and then I think
completely,
we
but I
might
was
have a
just
bit of
saying
lag
then,
on here.
I was just looking at the time and we've probably talked for like 2 minutes about like the pubs reopening again, which makes me start thinking that we either start up a new podcast called Life or we carry on with Facebook before we start losing people
I think we
on
talk
this
about
podcast.
Facebook because I mean
Yeah.
it's not
So a
yeah,
little bit, we have a little bit
I
of
don't
chat
know.
there.
Yeah, there's only so much content I can put out about life stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I've got more to talk
So let's
about with
get
Facebook ads.
into it. So, based on a consultancy call I had yesterday, great topic to bring up today. Shout out to the consultancy people who are listening to the podcast and going, "Hey, we want you to help with our ads." If you are in the same position, little hook, go to theadsclinic.com, book in for a 30-minute call with us, and we can see if we can help you any further. Let's get onto it. Let's get onto it. So, basically, what we're going to be doing is talking about lead nurturing. So the call that I had yesterday was looking at a particular ad that she's running for a client. Now, the particular client is like a group to do with children's dyslexia and things like that. Okay. Now, my son's got dyslexia, so finding the answer of what's going to help is a huge situation, which is there's so many different avenues you can go down. So what we were discussing on this call is at the top of funnel, there is only a top of funnel. It's picture of the two women running the course with a child doing a big like a surprised expression face, which is great. It's like standing out on the feed. A bit of detail on the advert, going straight through to a landing page, which is the buy landing page, which has got basically some details about what it consists of, and then you can go and buy it for 99 quid. Now, where she's getting some really good click through, so she's getting 9.6% click through from the ad. She's paying 36p a click through, £23 for a CPM, which is a bit higher. So her problem was, her worry was, I'm paying so much for the CPMs, and I'm like, well, okay. The CPM is going to be really hard to bring down, a lot harder than it is to do the other things. If you're getting 9.6% people going through to the landing page, which is, we work off of 1% as being minimum, you're 9 times up on that. Let's look at the landing page and the nurturing, because A, the landing page doesn't really good. She knows that, the client knows that. There's a lot of work that can be done there. But B, you've got to take these people down a nurturing process. So I'm entering in this as a father of a son who has dyslexia and the other issues that come with it. And it's like, there are so many different things that you can do. This one's based around, using movement and things like this to get a bit of the stress out your child and all that sort of stuff from the ADHD sort of point of view. But there's no right answer to it. There's no, this is the cure to what you've got. So I said, well, you need to really nurture. And she'd spoken to her sister, and her sister thinks that her child's got a bit of ADHD. And her sister came through and said, well, I don't really know what this is. And I said, that is exactly the point. Mm-hmm. You've got to take them on a journey. You can't expect. And in fact, Matt, when I told you about it yesterday, you were like, wow, that's really good. They've broken even. They spent 550 on ad. Well, let's say 500 quid, 550. They've done 5 orders at 99 quid based on what we've got at the moment. So I'm like, as a
so what are they ordering? Is it like an online course, like self-paced?
Yeah.
Right. So they go to a landing page, they sign up for, it's about £100, and then they'll get an email that says like, here's your login details. They log in, and then there's like videos and stuff like that. Is that the...
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
But I would have, like, first off, so I would have to know more about it. Obviously, we didn't have time on the call. I would have had to have really looked into and read about what was going on. I'd never seen this sort of stuff before to help with ADHD and things like that. So we've got to think that everyone's stupid, haven't we? And I said this on another call yesterday, not a consultancy call, with one of our clients. They sent through a landing page they're trying to get wrapped vehicles for fleets. So if you're a fleet manager with, I don't know, 20 white vans in your fleet, you could have someone else advertising on your vans, and they'll wrap the whole vehicle for you and stuff. And they were using such, I say, big words, the terminology, all this lot. And basically they're an innovator in the space as well. So I was saying, well, what does this mean? Oh, it's something we've created. And I'm like, yeah, but if you've created, no one else is going to know what it means. So you've got to talk to everyone like they're children. I think there's an expression that you've used in the past that when you get your landing page or whatever, you pass it, give it to a 10-year-old and see if a 10-year-old understands what you're trying to sell. Mm-hmm. If they don't, then, you've made it too hard.
Yeah, you have to really be human with the language that you use on a landing page, and just like talk as if you're, well, I mean, don't talk as if you're talking to somebody like this if you're going to use loads of technical jargon, because that won't work if that is the way that you talk. But you know what I mean? You have to be human and just be really obvious with what it is you're actually trying to get that person to do. I've seen some landing pages and I'm just like, I don't know what you're actually saying to me. I don't know. I'm not connecting with this in any way, and I'm not going to do that action because I'm confused. Confused people don't take action. Yeah.
So from your point of view, Matt, from a lead gen point of view, so if we stick to lead gen, we can cover off a bit of e-com. It doesn't happen so much in e-com with this nurturing process, because unless it's a slightly more expensive product or they're not completely sold on the product when they first hit it. But from a lead gen point of view, because before we did this podcast, you were like, and I was writing the title of it, you were like, yeah, okay, but it's not always. But from your point of view as a lead gen expert, how do you, when you go, so for anyone listening who's going, okay, I've got a lead gen product, I want it to work. I said, how do you go in as a process of the lead nurturing? Is it?
I mean, first of all, it's like, actually, this isn't really pure lead gen because there is actually a price attached to that. So we are actually moving a bit into e-com. And I mean, what the main difference though being is that this is a digital product, not like a physical, tangible thing that then needs to be shipped and is fulfilled and all of that kind of stuff. It is fulfilled, but digitally and often automated through like a learning management system and all that kind of stuff. So the thing, how I'm understanding it is that it's an ad that is going directly to a sales page for this £100 offer.
Right.
Now, actually, this is what I call like a murky price point, or like a price point. You're giving yourself a bit of, not a hard time, but you're not cheap enough for it to be an impulse purchase to a cold traffic, like, oh, it's only 25, 50 quid, like I'll just give it a go and see what happens, you know, that there's that impulse purchase. It's a little bit too much for an impulse, but it's not quite expensive enough to have to go through the whole like getting somebody onto a webinar and kind of going down that route. I mean, you could do that and just charge more. So it's this kind of like middle ground price point, which often makes these things a little bit more complicated. But I think the main thing to really understand, first of all, is like the value ladder. So say, for example, with this client, it's £100 price point and they're currently breaking even. That could be fine, because what they're getting out of that is a lead, but not only just a lead that's downloaded something for free, they've got somebody that's actually spent quite a decent chunk of money with them already and way more likely to go on and purchase other stuff. So if this is like the beginning of the value ladder and you're breaking even, and then you have this back end process that's dialed in, like an email sequence that's then going to get people onto your higher ticket product, then I would argue that actually that break even is not a bad thing. If you know, then you're making your numbers on the back end. If it is just a like, this is the only product right now at the moment,
which at the moment
it is, and it is only £100, then absolutely it's going to be that nurture. And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. So the way that you can kind of like do that in the ad. So rather than going direct to cold people, we can maybe go like video content of value to cold people at the top of the funnel and then retarget them. Or what you could do is rejig the funnel itself. So you could, rather than offering straight into the £100 course, what you could do is to cold traffic go into a free lead magnet. And then on the back end through an email sequence, you can send out a very like, what's the right word? Like a properly crafted sales email sequence that will nurture them on the back end and then push them over into that £100 purchase. Okay. Those are a couple of things that I would try.
That's the thing when
go on.
You thought.
I was just going to say, based on what you've said around the key KPIs, so the click-throughs, the cost per click and the link click-through, you've got somebody to stop. So, well, I mean, it sounds like it's just the one image, but at the end of the day, if you're getting people clicking, then I'm not seeing that as an issue right now. People are going onto the landing page. And then if there is a big drop off, and I guess there is because it's breaking even, then that suggests to me that it's just too soon to go in at £100. So I wouldn't really be worrying too much about that current ad that's running. It's what comes after that, or restructuring the ad funnel, not the actual ad itself. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, which sort of leads you onto that nurturing process of, for 99 quid, that person's going to have to be a lot more sold that this is going to fix. Or you do maybe a mini course at 9.99.
Yeah. You can to cold traffic, you can go anywhere like from like £50 or less. So that could be another option. But again, it really is just a lead generation tool. So even though you're charging, it's likely that if you're going around £50 or less on a front end opt-in, unless you have order bumps and upsells, it's likely that you'll still just break even because of the cost associated with getting somebody to buy that £50 product.
Okay.
But it kind of just depends on it. Really, you just have to try it. You know, why people often go down that route is because they're all, if say you do like a lead magnet for like a free PDF download, there will be a high percentage of people that are just looking for a free thing, and not that then will just never purchase from you. And obviously you can clean your email list to sort of filter those people out, but there's a lot around, you know, somebody that comes in, even if it is like you say, like a tenner, $10, whatever, they're more likely to go and purchase that thing that's more expensive, like your key offer.
Yeah. Which is why a lot of people even charge for webinars, don't they?
Yeah. Even if it's just a couple of quid. Yeah.
Okay. So interesting. So I was thinking of, with this sort of structure, I know it's a lot more expensive as a course, but we've got your two clients who've gone away now to build more landing pages. They've done a similar thing, as I was talking about, you know, how they've just filmed on their iPhone going into a wood, haven't they? And on a walk.
Yeah.
Going,
That's
that
not
sounds
as
really
dodgy
dodgy,
as it sounds. Yeah, it definitely isn't as
they've
dodgy
done
as
on
it
their
sounds.
iPhone going into a wood. They've just been on a country walk, haven't they?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It was that they were kind of saying to me, right, okay, what content? And we always you know, give ideas to our clients, don't worry about content. And they were kind of like, oh, well, you know, we need to record these like videos. And I'm like, do not spend a load of time worrying about expensive equipment and high quality video. I said you could just basically just get your phone out when you're on a walk as a kind of example, but that is what they actually then did.
Yeah,
they took it very literally, but actually it worked really well in the ad in the end.
So how was their what was their funnel structure set up?
So funnily enough, we actually had this conversation I just had, is the exact conversation I had with them. And it all comes down to that price point. Like, you need to know that price point first before you can really, the price point dictates the funnel. So they were at this kind of middle ground point on their price as well. It was like not quite low enough to be a low ticket funnel to cold. It wasn't quite high enough to kind of, you know, a bit overkill having to kind of do a webinar, or not overkill, but it's like, if you're going to end up doing a webinar, you might as well just charge more for it because the value was there. So we kind of brainstormed some ideas between a higher price point and then with either a webinar or a challenge. And they're actually going to be running a 5-day live challenge in a Facebook group. So now, instead of an ad going to this £100 thing, it's an ad going to a free a low ticket. So it's still a paid for low ticket challenge, then selling into that what was a £100 course that is now a little bit more expensive because of that change in the funnel.
Okay. But it's worked for them,
That's
isn't
the
it?
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you have to think about like what you're using, as if you decide to go down the offering something for free thing, then it's a case of like, you know, a free PDF download where somebody may never even look at it, or they do, but there's no trust built there, but there's no rapport. Whereas, you know, with a course and with Sean and David, and this is where like lead gen and service based stuff is very different, because like you don't have a tangible thing. Like your eyewear client, like, that's a physical thing you can see, touch, feel, you kind of know what it is. Whereas like a course, you're like, well, I don't really know like what that's involved. So you have to be really clever on the sales page, but also often the course that you're buying into is the person. So that's why we kind of went down the challenge route, because, it over
They get to
5
know that
days.
person.
Yeah, exactly. They get to build that authority with that audience, and therefore the conversion on that will likely be much better than the conversion on just a like free PDF cheat sheet. And I'm not bashing free PDFs. Like, it depends on where you're at in your business and all that kind of stuff. But in this particular case, that was what felt like the best option for them.
So for Hannah's case, then, for her client, she could advise her client to maybe look at a 5-day challenge where the two business owners are on a call for like an hour a day for 5 days, where they talk about different techniques that they have found help. At the end of that course, if those 50 mums or dads have got benefit out of it, then it's going to be a lot easier to close them at the £99 because they've seen some benefits during those 5 days. Like, even go away today and do this with your son or daughter. Next day, go away today and do this with your son and daughter.
Yeah,
it's actually something that's actually, when you think about it, really, really good, isn't it? Because there's so much to learn, but there's different things. All you need is Joe Blogs to go, oh my God, that really worked. And he or she are going to buy it at the end of the week.
Absolutely. Challenges are awesome. And like a lot of, I think with the kind of like info product and like courses and things like that, especially like in our niche, what a lot of people struggle with is like the accountability. So like when they know that there's like going to be this live training dropped each day, then there's going to be action steps at the end of it and like a little bit of homework, and then they report back the next day, and then there's this community building. Like, it's really, really, really effective as a lead magnet, and then something that then will sell your higher ticket thing. It, without knowing the ins and outs of the course and all of that stuff, it's hard to know what I would advise on the price point of that. But I think a lot of people do sell themselves short on what value is being provided and then what that price point is. So that's something that could be experimented with as well.
Okay.
Well, and then just one other real quick thing I want to mention, which I think a lot of lead gen people slip up with on ads, is the cost of that lead. And you have to think about like the commitment of something that you're asking somebody to do. So yeah, you could get somebody to download a PDF for like a couple of quid. If you're asking somebody to get into a challenge or a webinar or even book a discovery call with you, whilst that's all still lead gen and it's a free opt-in, that level of commitment is higher to actually get somebody to go through and like book a call with you and all of that kind of stuff. So often you do end up having to pay a little bit extra for those leads. So it's just kind of shifting that mentality of like, oh, I should be getting leads for like £3. It does depend on what you're asking somebody to do.
I mean, you think about the cost that we have of our leads, you're over £100, aren't we?
Yeah, coming down a little bit now, but yeah.
Well, it's going to, because it's going to start, the pixel's going to start understanding the people who are doing the booking.
Exactly.
And the more you have, the more it's going to come down.
But then you just have to think, well, what, that's when you go into all of understanding your numbers and, what is the lifetime value of a customer. If over time they're going to be spending 3 or 4 grand with you, then what's 100 quid? So
exactly,
it's all of those.
We've already discussed the conversion rates of the call. We have an email sequence. I've just written you another email to put into the email sequence. So this is the thing. It's like, I think what listeners need to understand is, especially from a lead gen point of view, is there's a lot of nurturing going on, isn't there? So, I mean, our funnel goes from a Facebook ad which is a video testing. Is the videos working better than the statics on ours?
No. Well, so in terms of like a direct conversion, no, but the videos are feeding into the middle of funnel conversion. So I often find that with the video, where I'm retargeting at middle of funnel, the audience that's doing better is the people that have viewed the video, if that makes sense.
Oh, is that not necessarily? So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So just bringing some video into it where they start seeing me or knowing me as a person, opposed to just a picture on a static. All these things just make those other little touch points different, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. With lead gen, I always advise get as much video as you can at the top of funnel, because then it gives you that sort of like extra audience that you can retarget at the middle of funnel. And then when I do the retargeting at middle of funnel, I often find what performs better there is not video, it's actually static or carousel.
Interesting. But yeah, so once we get someone who's booked in, there's two things. They opt in, but they don't book in my calendar. So the ones who don't book in go down another 14-day email sequence. The ones who do book in have an email sequence until the call. And I think we're setting up SMS, aren't we? Text messaging.
Yep.
Then after the call, they go into an email sequence. And then all those join into another master email sequence. So this is the thing, without wanting to scare the people off, we know what we're doing. There's a few of us involved in building an entire funnel, but this is what needs to be done. But you don't have to sit there and write. I mean, the other week, yes, we sat down and wrote 14 emails back to back. But this week, I'm not. Every day that you're sending out an email for the sequence, i.e. just before this podcast, I sat down and wrote email 3. You put it into the sequence, and that's it. It doesn't need to be touched again. And then on Friday, I'll write email 4. So as long you can, I don't want everyone listening to think, oh my God, I've got to build this, or my client's got to do it. If you're going to do a 20-day email sequence, just write an email every day and add it to the sequence, and then it's done. Absolutely. And then you can just look at the statistics and see which ones need changing around, or if one's not working, drop it out, try and change it up. It all just, Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? And it's like, you see these massive things of these huge coaches out there and things like that. And it's like, it did not happen in one straight go.
That's the thing, isn't it? It may, for small business owners that are just sort of like starting out or not at that like guru level, they look at it like, oh my God, this is so friggin' overwhelming. Like, how am I, where do I even start with this?
Well, you've got a client who's in that position right now, aren't they? They're like,
absolutely
really overwhelmed.
Yeah, and a lot of the time the conversations I have is actually like more around like mindset and like that example of what you just said there, like Rome is not built in a day. And like, you know, is it a lot of work? Yes, it is. It's a friggin' lot of work. Like all the moving parts and creating the landing pages, and then you've got, it's not only just putting a landing page together, it's the sales psychology and the copy and all of that, and then that's always being tested. And I'm not saying this to overwhelm people even more. What I'm trying to say is that you just start somewhere. Like, we just got our funnel launched as best as we could, but it's never going to be finished. We then added that email sequence. We then added that email sequence. And before you know it, you've built this machine, which the main thing I get excited about is that it's completely automated.
Are we actually ready to plug our automation service? Are we there yet? I don't know. let's run funnels.
Let's run funnels. I don't think so.
We're not there yet to sell it.
Let's maybe just get our funnel like actually like properly well oiled.
Soon. Coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon. But no, like I suppose like no, that is a good point. If there are people that are listening to this thinking like, I know I need to be doing that. I need landing pages. I need these automations. Then it is something that we will be releasing soon. So definitely watch this space, or just reach out to us if it is something that you're considering, and we can chat about it.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
But going back, I just want to just be like, because it was mainly about nurturing. I just want to make sure that I've got that across, in that like the money is made in what is called like the back end. So this is like once somebody is signed into your funnel, like as a lead or what have you, even e-com, if they go onto your website and they buy a product, the money really then comes after that. So it's the email sequence that follows that, bringing them back in. So if they're an existing customer, getting them to buy more products, or if they are a lead, they opt into a freebie, it's the email sequence that comes after that. If they opt into a paid webinar, is likely that they won't buy your thing at the end of the webinar, but then they will buy when you put the email sequence in. and you have the scarcity in and all of that kind of stuff through the emails, that's when you then start to see the sales happen. So the nurturing and the follow-up is really,
and the
really
scarcity is, you know, without saying, you know, I'm saying it to people that I'm on the call with consultancy wise, is that, you know, at the moment, you know, it's a consultancy that I'm doing the calls and and it's in my calendar, and it's obviously you'll be doing it as well, etc. But, you know, we've just started off and we're just testing all this sort of stuff out. I can only take so many calls. So, you know, if you do decide to come down this route and do the consultancy, I've only got so many places before I can't take any more. So when Matt's talking about scarcity, yes, in a lot of these things, those things are made up. It's like, you know, the price is £2,000 normally, and it's only going to be 500 quid for another 4 days. That's creating scarcity. A lot of the gurus out there, they will actually stop that. Like it is like I think there's a couple of people that we know out there who, you know, to get onto their mastermind, it's twice a year. And it's $4,000 or whatever, and there's only 30 places. So it's a true scarcity. Like my consultancy is a true scarcity. I think I can only take on like something like 6 people.
Don't lie about scarcity. Like that pisses me off. Like if you're going to do scarcity, be genuine with it. And that's like you're saying, it's like, yeah, there is only so many hours in the day you have, like due to the nature of that service. Like it's hands-on, isn't it? So, you know, there will come a time where we will have to close the doors on that until we rejig, you know, who's going to be picking X and Y.
TheAdsClinic.com. TheAdsClinic.com.
Get in while you can, for sure. But yeah, the scarcity, and that's where you've got the kind of like live launch model where it's like cart opens, cart closes, you'll see like a massive increase in sales because of that scarcity. Or you've got the evergreen model, which is more just consistent because you just scale it consistently. But I'll talk about that another time because
that could be another podcast actually. The evergreen, because that's always been something that we've discussed for our own product as well. Is do we go evergreen or do we do you know, gates open, gates closed? I think greed becomes a big factor of that, doesn't it? Because you want it all the time. And I think the ideal thing is when you see these stories of, hey, I set my funnel up and I set my business up and now I live on beaches around the world. It does happen. They've gone for an evergreen, but they haven't in May gone, oh, I'm going to set this up, and then by June they're living in Thailand on a beach. It's probably taken them 2.5 years. You're just seeing their success story.
Absolutely. And I'm so big on trying to get that out to people that like, don't compare, what's that cheesy saying? Like, don't compare your chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 20.
Don't ask me about sayings. I don't even know the one you're talking about.
I know. I
said one on a call the other day.
I
was on the call with some clients the other day with James, and he was like, did you just literally say that? Like, I don't think I ever get them right. It's quite, I don't know how I'm stupid. So let's have a little chat about ecom and how this nurturing funnel. So ecom, what you said earlier, perfect, Matt. Like, well, 2 things actually. When you think about a product that, and we do it, we have clients now who are like selling their product out the door, 13 quid, 20 quid, whatever. And I think with the ecom side, they are so addicted to the acquisition opposed to the lifetime value. It's just low-hanging fruit. I want to grab the person who's going to buy now. Okay, but what about the person who's going to buy in 30, 60 or 90 days?
Yeah.
Who's not ready to buy your product now? Even if it's 30 quid, they're not ready to buy your product. I'm really bad for it. I'm quite frugal in the way that I like to, and I suppose it's because our industry, it's all about value, isn't it? And we've sort of been working industry where it is value-based. Is like, if I see something, even if it's like 30 quid, I'm like, am I going to get the value out of that? Do I just, I'm very not just, I'll buy it for the sake of it. And I know a lot of people are like that. They're the ones that are low-hanging fruit. So the people who are like that, who are going off, I'll just have it, who see an ad on Facebook or Instagram and just buy it, there's always a market for those. Absolutely, for sure. But the most of them are still the apples that are still trying to ripen, ready for falling off the tree in June. So get ready for those ones to come through, even if your product's not expensive. So a nurturing process becomes really true, really, when like we're selling. I've got a meeting this afternoon with a bike hire, a bike wheel company, and they're these aerodynamic wheels. They're expensive, a pair's like 12 to 1500 quid. And we're selling those, and he's on like a 6 to 8 return on investment on our Facebook ads with a low budget as well. I mean, the ad that's getting in the sales is like 10 quid a day. I had no idea that we'd be able to sell these and get a return of 6 to 8 on 10 quid a day. Logically, if someone is sat down and going, this is what I've got, will it work? We'd be like, oh, well, no. Like it goes against the whole law of it. But
imagine if you started spending £100 a day.
Well, that's well, he's in today.
Job. Yeah.
Well, so I've said to his client success manager who looks after our clients is like, well, spend it £100 a day. We'll know very quickly if it's working or not, but you're going to make a considerable amount more sales. But he's in a good place. But we're starting with, like I said, Matt, so we're starting off with a YouTube video of him with the wheels in his really cool little workshop, all handmade. And it's going to cyclists who've got the one-upmanship with their mates on a Sunday or Saturday, cycling around the country lanes, wanting the best bike. And yes, it actually makes them quicker because, racing experts and cyclists use these professionally, but he's brought it to the wider audience, and that's what he wants to pick up. But it's a nurturing video talking about the wheels for I think it's like 4-6 minutes long at the top of funnel. And then what we're doing is retargeting a carousel ad, going through a couple of the wheels and then a little bit of background, a pro using them. And that's the bit that's getting the orders. But the funny thing is, and it goes against everything, and which is why we always say no client is like the next client, is that we're retargeting at middle of funnel on 50% video views and website traffic. So people are clicking on the ad. A lot of people are actually clicking on the video ad. They're watching the video and also clicking through to the website. But we are getting the orders from the website visitors, not the video views. So is it then the fact that the video views, there's no orders there because they actually have to go through to the website and start looking around. So, but we're also not spending a lot of money. So we're not getting huge amounts of data back. At the end of the day, it's like touch wood, we're still getting a 6 to 8 times return on the ad.
Yeah.
But we've gone in there knowing that it's a higher priced product. From the off is going, we can't just go straight in with an ad top of the funnel. We need to warm that top of funnel up to show them how these wheels work, the benefits that come from these wheels, all this sort of stuff. And then we'll go back in at middle of funnel and try and gain something from them. We'll, in time, when we've got more money and more traffic, we'll probably set up a DPA ad, which is the dynamic product ad, to retarget people who've added to cart. Because it's actually got a lot of add to cart. When we usually work off landing page views to add to cart is 10% on average, and then from add to cart to initiate checkout is 55, and then initiate checkout to purchase is 85. His add to cart, he's way and add to cart to a checkout. Sorry, so add to cart to initiate checkout is way off, like really low, but it's a 1,400 quid product. So I'm not expecting everyone to add to cart to go, oh, I'm going to go, where's that checkout? I wonder if I can get a little £5 off. It's not going to happen. So, people have to go, you have to go into that really thinking about the strategy. But Matt, it's proved that 30 quid a day, I think, no, not even that. I think we're doing £10 video views and £10 retargeting ads. But 20 quid a day is getting him an 6 to 8 times ROAS on a 1,400 quid product, which is astonishing, really. So Facebook ads does work.
With small budgets, yeah.
You said last week on the last podcast, it's not that the Facebook ads don't work, it's just that your product's not wanted or has been structured incorrectly.
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't sell.
Are they doing any offers or anything?
No. Good, isn't it? I had another one talking about this the other day, talking about video at the top, which actually has gone the other way. This is from a consultancy call as well. Is Max, who runs an agency, he's got a client who has these lids that go over the top of your mugs to go in the fridge, or bowls to go in the fridge, or it's, rather than using cling film to cover something, you use these different stretchy things. And his client's got some great videos. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a fantastic idea. You know, showing a video of it being used. Now he's started getting orders. He wasn't getting orders before, so he's starting getting orders now. But you know, every time I look into his ad account, I'm like, just think it should be getting so many more orders than it does for the amount of video views it does and the price point and stuff. But then the price point is, you know, it's at 13 quid, but you can buy the same thing unbranded on Amazon for 6 quid. So someone's really got to be sold on the eco side of the brand and purchase it. Otherwise, they're going to go to the non-branded on Amazon for next day delivery, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they'll be weighing up the options, and then they'll need content that's going to be like, oh, I want that, I want those lids. So like, what is their like unique proposition? What's their USPs and all that stuff?
Well, they do lots of different products, but they do bundles as well. So that's the other thing. If you're struggling at the top and you can't really get the ROAS you want, try doing a bundle. So he's now looking at bundle way. They've got it where you get the lids and some bags and whatever for 53 quid. Because if you get the same amount of orders that are coming in, but at not £13, now 53, suddenly your ROAS and margins have shot up.
It's increasing that not lifetime average order value. And that could be something that works well with like upsells as well. So like as they're checking out, can you add a couple more lids for, you know, not that much more, and then that makes the average order value higher, which will then increase your ROAS.
Yeah, especially if you have control over the website. Like if the client's giving you the control to do these things, it's a lot quicker. I mean, I think one of the frustrating things about us as an agency, when we're solely working for someone who hasn't allowed us to have control over more things to do with their funnel, is that we're having to sell it into them, get them to do it. They need to find out how to do it. You know, if you have a client who allows you to do everything and make the changes yourself, it's a lot easier for us to implement all these things, isn't it? Otherwise, you've got to get someone to download the right apps on a Shopify site to allow upsells and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, I hope that helps. I think we've got a lot out of this podcast actually to do with that whole nurturing lead and e-com.
Nurture people, Pete.
Yeah,
you'll make more money. Do it.
There is an ideal world where we do have clients who just literally get what they need to at the top of funnel on one ad. It does happen, but a lot comes down into just having the perfect product, doesn't it?
Yeah,
price point's right.
But I've said to you before, like you can actually end up wasting money by doing a full funnel strategy when you just might not need to, like you've just said. Like if you've tested it and your price point is just at that price point where it's just going to be an impulse, that's actually like where I would probably invest more in email actually. So those people that have purchased, just you'll have their email, just try and sell more stuff on the email.
Yeah, exactly. I think with email, it just takes a lot more time, a lot more thought, especially from a lead gen point of view. I'm not going to beat around the bush. You've got to put some time and effort into writing those emails, haven't you? Getting them right.
But ecom, like I think so many ecom businesses don't even think about email.
No, and it's all it is using it's an HTML. Insert the pictures, put a nice little offer on it, put some text in there. Make sure your links click through to the product on the picture. Even if you're sending that out once every 2 days, once every day, different products, just get it in people's inboxes.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're using Shopify, which most people do, don't they? You've got Klaviyo, which is a plugin for email. And what's great about Klaviyo is that also syncs with Ads Manager. So when you're growing your emails through Klaviyo, you can actually build custom audiences right off the back of it that automatically update.
Yeah, Klaviyo's like really hit home, and they came into the spotlight because Shopify and MailChimp fell out, or did MailChimp? I think MailChimp have bought Square.
Oh, Squarespace.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Or Squarespace bought MailChimp, one of the two. So obviously, Shopify was like, well, we're out. Klaviyo has filled that gap in really well, actually, because they're using some very good technology.
Yeah, I'm hearing it bandied about a lot at the moment.
Yeah, they've done well. I actually 2 years ago maybe 3 years ago, went to a Klaviyo. I was invited to Klaviyo drinks thing actually, where they were presenting some of the features. They weren't talking about syncing it to Ads Manager then, so it's come a long way.
Yeah. No, so yeah, nurture people. Do you want to plug the ads clinic?
Yep. So a little plug: www. No, I don't need to say www. Jesus, World Wide Web dot ads
World Wide
clinic.
Web.
World Wide Web dot theadsclinic.com. Go to there, get a 30-minute session with moi. We'll check it out. If I think I can help with your ads and push them to a different place, great. Let's get you onto our consultancy package. If I can't, I'll say I can't. I'm not going to waste your money talking gobbledygook every time we have a call. So if I can, I can. If I can't, I can't. But it's worked wonders for our clients so far. Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for your time, Matt.
No worries. I also just wanted to, real quick before we go, mention the Facebook group as well, which you just need to search for Let's Run Facebook Ads on Facebook. We've got a group that is got a few more people in there now, and also we go live with the podcast in there. So this podcast recording won't actually go out on our podcast for a couple of weeks yet. So if you're in the group, if you're listening to this podcast when it's on podcasts and you want to get our future episodes before everybody else, then just search for Let's Run Facebook Ads on Facebook and join the group. We're
actually discussing new stuff, aren't we? We're discussing new stuff to go into the group, like little how-tos and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some cool shit in that group soon that we're working on behind the scenes at the moment. So get yourselves in there, say hello to everybody, get the podcast early, and we'll be in there hanging out to chat to you as well.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Thanks everyone for listening. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Take care. Bye.